boom, back to Shedeur.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I have no issue with what Shedeur did is because, to be honest with you, it would have been foreign to him. Why do I say that? He went to Jackson State. They were no good when he got there. He helped make them good. He went to Colorado. They were no good when he got there. He helped make them good. He got to the Cleveland Browns. They're no good when he got there. He's trying to make them good. This is something that he's used to doing. He's never really stepped into a program where it was, oh, this is a really good program. I'm gonna sit back and learn. No, he recruited the city of Cleveland because it was something that he was used to. He was used to going to places and making them better.
What if the team, constantly searching for the next superstar, already had him sitting quietly on the sidelines? The Cleveland Browns have been showing up at college games, scouting quarterbacks as if their future depends on it. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. Why are they acting like they don't already have one of the most polished, NFL-ready QBs sitting right there on their roster? Shedeur Sanders has done what most young quarterbacks could only dream of multiple times. And yet, the Browns seem to be looking past him. Are they planning for the future or about to whiff on a game-changing franchise player? Because if you take a closer look at the numbers, the mindset, and the impact Shedeur's already had on and off the field, it's hard to explain why Cleveland is even looking anywhere else. And what's even crazier, the quarterbacks they are watching, most of them don't even come close.
He wants to do the exact same thing with Cleveland. The thing that people are not paying attention to is he's playing the long game. You know, he got the fan base so good and he got the city of Cleveland so good that at some point it's inevitable that he's going to step out on that field. Because what he's doing in the community, the way he's ruined, the way he's helped people that was in need, and that's the way he spends time talking to kids. Listen, people remember that stuff. It's gonna be it's a huge storm coming that Shedeur got to get out on that field.
Week after week, the Cleveland Browns coaching staff has been spotted at major college football games. All eyes locked on 2026 quarterback prospects. Reports confirm it's not just casual observation. This is intentional, strategic. They're on the hunt, and they're not being subtle about it. But the question is, why? Because sitting quietly on their own depth chart is Shedeur Sanders, easily one of the most productive college quarterbacks of his generation. A player who's not only proven he can lead a program, but has done so while carrying the weight of failing systems, non-existent protection, and relentless media scrutiny. And yet, the Browns, fresh off decades of dysfunction, are behaving like Shedeur is invisible, like he's just another name on the roster.
And I think when he does, he's going to do well. I mean, right now, we've seen him in the preseason. He had his good game, he had his bad game. Right now, he's just sitting back, answering, doing everything the right way, just taking notes and consistently getting better. He's doing it in the quiet. Nobody's really trying to say nothing to him. He ain't really trying to have no headlines in the media. He's just showing up to work every day, trying to get better because, as he continues to say, when his opportunity comes, he want to make sure that he's ready for that opportunity. So he's one of those guys that I think the way he comes off to me is, if you give me that opportunity, I ain't giving it.
If you're Shedeur, you've got every right to raise an eyebrow. You commit to a rebuild, show up to work, take on a leadership role both in the locker room and the community. And still, the organization is flying across the country to scout players who don't even match your resume? That's not business as usual. It's a glaring statement. What's more puzzling is the type of quarterbacks they're tracking. Most don't have the polish, poise, or production that Shedeur has already demonstrated. And if the Browns weren't so wrapped up chasing the next big thing, they might realize they already have it. Because when you're in a city that craves stability under center, why go searching for hope when you've already got answers? If you put Shedeur Sanders' college numbers side by side with the quarterbacks the Browns are scouting, the difference is almost embarrassing.
Definitely what the media, try to, it's always two different sides of the story or whatever. I don't even know, but like him as a dude, the meet him, cool cat, he good. Like he got his head on right, and then he got a bright future ahead of him. And I just wish nothing but the
quarterback coach when we first got to college. Then he's always been, just a great person to be around. A lot of stuff out there on him ain't really, the truth. Just because they spin it different ways, like they spin stuff about me different ways. But I mean,
we're talking about a guy who's consistently thrown for over 3,000 yards each season. Not just once, but every year he's played. And that's while leading programs that weren't exactly powerhouses. His most recent season, over 4,000 passing yards, right up there with the top NFL draft picks. But Shedeur didn't just rack up stats in blowout games or padded garbage time. He earned them under relentless pressure behind one of the weakest offensive lines in the country. He was sacked constantly, took hits most quarterbacks wouldn't get up from, and still stayed poised in the pocket. Critics love to point out that he held the ball too long sometimes. Fair. But you know what he didn't do? Turn the ball over. His interception rate was astonishingly low. He doesn't force plays. He thinks, he processes. And his accuracy? Arguably one of the sharpest we've seen from a young quarterback in years.
Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to be in a place that he could.
Then there's the mechanics, crisp dropbacks, elite level ball placement, and a calm confidence that screams NFL ready. His leadership? Unquestioned. His football IQ? Off the charts. And while teams are dissecting game tape of players who might become decent pros, Shedeur has already put together a highlight reel that looks like something out of a first-rounder's dream. He's not just a system guy. He's not just a stat machine. He's someone who takes broken pieces and builds a team around them. But despite the resume, the Browns continue to glance elsewhere. Here's where the whole situation gets even more confusing. The quarterbacks Cleveland is eyeing for 2026, their numbers don't just fall short of Shedeur's, they barely move the needle. Let's run through a few names being tracked across college football right now. Arch Manning, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Just over 100 yards. Several of these so-called future franchise guys putting up barely 200 yards per game with inflated offensive systems. One QB on the list went 15 for 27 with 1 touchdown and 1 pick. Another barely threw for over 180 yards. These aren't bad stats for raw prospects, but these are the quarterbacks getting all the attention over Shedeur? Let's not act like playing for a big-name school automatically makes you a better player. If anything, several of these guys are surrounded by 5-star talent, clean pockets, and coaching staff hand-holding them every step of the way. Shedeur, he hasn't had that luxury. No elite offensive line. No powerhouse legacy program. And still, you look at the poise, the production, the decision-making, it's not even close. So what exactly is Cleveland looking for? If it's polished mechanics, strong leadership, high football IQ, and the ability to thrive under pressure, Shedeur already checks every box, twice. Yet somehow, the Browns are spending valuable time and resources scouting lesser options, and it makes you wonder. Is this really about talent, or are they just chasing the hype? Some quarterbacks land in a perfect situation. Great coaching, stacked rosters, a system tailored to their strengths. Shedeur Sanders, he's never had that kind of safety net. Everywhere he's gone, he's walked into a mess and made it better. At Jackson State, he joined a program with no national spotlight. The team wasn't winning. The culture wasn't electric. But give Shedeur a season, and suddenly the entire country was talking about an HBCU school that hadn't made headlines in years. He didn't just elevate the team, he elevated the entire brand. Then came Colorado, a team dismissed as irrelevant with one of the worst records in college football. And again, he brought change, not just on the field, but in the energy, in the mindset, in the culture. He made Colorado matter again. Fans showed up, media covered every snap, and the program had a heartbeat for the first time in a decade. Now he's in Cleveland, a city haunted by decades of quarterback instability and playoff heartbreak. Most rookies would avoid a scenario like this at all costs. Not Shedeur. He walked straight into the storm because that's what he does. He doesn't plug into success, he creates it. He's a blueprint guy, a fixer, a long-term builder. And what's wild is that he's doing this not with hype or drama, but with quiet consistency. You don't find that combination often, especially not in a 21-year-old quarterback. So the next time the Browns think about scouting another quarterback, maybe they should look at the one they've already got. A player who's made it his mission to change broken systems from the inside out. And Cleveland might be his next project. Quarterbacks focus on stats, game film, and staying out of trouble. But Shedeur? He's writing a different kind of script in Cleveland, one that runs deeper than football. Even without a guaranteed starting role, he's already become a presence in the community. Not for attention, not for headlines, just because it's who he is. He's been spotted speaking with kids, volunteering, donating, showing up where nobody expected him to. No cameras, no press conferences, just him showing up with the same energy he brings to the locker room. That's the kind of leadership you can't fake. This isn't just about winning football games. Shedeur understands something most rookies overlook. You win the city before you win the field. And Cleveland, a city that's been burned by hollow promises and paper champions for decades, is embracing him in return. He's building trust. Slowly, quietly, consistently. Veterans have already said it. There's something different about the way Shedeur moves. He's not trying to force his way into the spotlight. But when that moment finally comes, the city's gonna erupt like they've been waiting for it all along. He's laying the foundation now so that when it's time, no one can say it isn't earned. Because what fans remember just as vividly as touchdowns are the moments off the field. The players who chose the city and were willing to fight for it. And right now, Shedeur's making it clear. He chose Cleveland. With all the positive change Shedeur Sanders is bringing to Cleveland, you'd think the media might cut him some slack. But lately, it's been the opposite. Clickbait headlines, out-of-context tweets, and speculations with zero credibility. Some so-called media members seem more interested in using Shedeur's name for views than actually following the facts. And for what? A few extra clicks off a kid who's just showing up, working hard, and staying quiet? Even former Browns players are calling it out. One recently went on record blasting the media for dragging Shedeur into nonsense. He's not doing anything but trying to get better, the player said. He shows up with a smile, works his tail off, gives back to the community. Stop using that man's name for clickbait. And honestly, he's right. Shedeur hasn't asked for the spotlight. He didn't demand to be treated like a superstar. He's not stirring up drama or leaking stories to the press. He's literally doing the opposite, focusing on growth while most rookies would be lobbying for playing time. But that's the thing. The real ones see it. They know Shedeur isn't about the talk, he's about the work. And that's exactly why he's gaining the respect of Cleveland veterans, local fans, and even players around the league. Because you can't hide character. And the irony? While the media twists his name for drama, Shedeur is quietly making all the right moves behind the scenes. The kind of moves that don't show up on Twitter, but win locker rooms. Because when that opportunity finally calls his name, it won't be height that answers. It'll be receipts. While Cleveland's front office flies around the country chasing college quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders is playing a completely different game. The long game. He's not begging for media coverage. He's not leaking frustration to reporters. He's not trying to force his way onto the field. Instead, he's doing something much more dangerous for the competition. He's waiting quietly and getting better every single day. The preseason gave us a glimpse. Some flashes looked raw, others looked calculated. But one thing was obvious. This wasn't some overwhelmed rookie. This was a player studying the playbook like a surgeon studies anatomy. Intentional, exact, focused. A guy who knows exactly what's coming and refuses to be unprepared. When asked about his approach, Shedeur didn't talk about pressure or playing time. He said one thing: I just want to be ready when the moment comes. Simple. No ego, no politics. Just preparation. Think about it. How often has Cleveland had a quarterback who actually wanted to be part of the rebuild? Not just for the fame or the contract, but for the process. That's what makes him dangerous. He's not chasing headlines. He's waiting for his moment. And when it comes, he plans to take it and never give it back. Because this isn't just a story of raw talent. It's a story of patience, leadership, and a quarterback who's been building up trust, momentum, and confidence behind the scenes. He knows what's coming. The only question now is, do the Browns? Cleveland is out chasing potential while ignoring the proven. They've got scouts sitting in the stands every Saturday, watching quarterbacks who don't even eclipse 200 yards per game. Meanwhile, they already have a young QB who's rebuilt not one, but two broken programs. A quarterback with NFL caliber stats, leadership qualities coaches dream about, and the kind of quiet discipline that screams long-term success. Shedeur Sanders doesn't need to make noise. He's just stacking his tickets, one rep at a time, one meeting at a time, one drive at a time. And while other names dominate the headlines, he's dominating something far more important: the locker room, the city, and the hearts of the fans who get it. Not everyone sees it yet. But when the floodgates open and that moment finally arrives, the ones who counted him out, they'll realize they were watching the wrong quarterbacks all along. Because Cleveland doesn't need to keep looking. They need to start recognizing Shedeur is already here.